It's 1972 in Wisconsin, and Amish families are facing a serious challenge. See, the state requires all children to attend school until age 16, and that's a problem for the Amish, a religious group with their own beliefs and way of life. They believe in a simple life that focuses on family and community, and they also believe that their children should stop formal schooling after 8th grade. After that, Amish teens learn farming, carpentry, and homemaking in their community. The Amish believe their way of life requires a different kind of education. But the government said, no, you must follow the same rules as everyone else. The Amish families protested, and the case went to trial. In fact, Wisconsin v. Yoder made it all the way to the Supreme Court. There, the Amish argued that the law violated their freedom of religion, a First Amendment right. The Supreme Court had a big decision to make. Should the government's interest in education come first? Or should the Amish family's right to live according to their religious beliefs be protected? That leads us to an even bigger question. Why are basic freedoms, like freedom of religion, necessary in a democracy? To find out, we'll dig into the 5 freedoms of the First Amendment, explore how they help keep our government fair for everyone, and discover how people use them every day. Are you ready, citizens? The First Amendment is a really big deal. Remember, the founders had to fight a revolution against a government that was ignoring their natural rights. So when they created a new government, they made sure to protect the most important freedoms right away. What rights do you think were so important that the founders put them first? Let's see for ourselves. As we do, describe each right in your own words. Feel free to pause the video whenever you need. In Wisconsin v. Yoder, the Amish said the state's education laws were violating their First Amendment right to freedom of religion. The Amish weren't against learning, they just believed that their faith and way of life required a different type of learning. The First Amendment says people in the US can practice any religion, or none at all. That's up to each person. The First Amendment also gives people the right to assemble. What does that mean? People have the right to gather in groups to share ideas or protest peacefully. This is how we, the people, make our voices heard in public. There's also freedom of the press. This allows newspapers, websites, and TV reporters to share news and question leaders without fear of being punished. Then there's the freedom to petition the government. This says you have the right to ask leaders to make changes. How does that happen? Citizens do this by writing letters, signing petitions, or even starting movements. And the final freedom guaranteed in the First Amendment is freedom of speech. This means you can share your ideas and opinions on, well, pretty much anything. But there are limits here. You can't say things that are meant to hurt others or cause danger. These 5 rights are often grouped together as freedom of expression. Some folks use the RAPS acronym to help remember them all. But what could happen if these freedoms didn't exist? Could the government control what you say or even how you express your beliefs? Think for a second. Try to list 3 things that you and your family have done recently that involved First Amendment freedoms. Pause here to respond. The First Amendment protects 5 freedoms, but what do these look like in real life? Maybe you attend a church, synagogue, or mosque on the weekend, or maybe your family doesn't practice any religion at all. That's freedom of religion. The government can't force beliefs on people. And that's what the Amish families claimed was happening in Wisconsin v. Yoder. Their religion taught that children should leave school after 8th grade and learn through hands-on work in their community. They believed their faith should guide how their children were raised. Did the Supreme Court agree with them? Yes, the justices ruled that Wisconsin's school law went against the Amish religion. Because of the First Amendment, the Amish had the right to follow their beliefs and remove their children from public school. That case is just one example of how First Amendment freedoms protect people's rights. But these freedoms aren't just for big court cases, they're part of everyday life too. Picture you and your friends getting together, talking about the best way to ask local leaders for a safer biking trail. Which First Amendment right would you be using here? That's freedom to assemble. Whenever you watch the news or read an article about your favorite celebrity, that's freedom of the press in action. Reporters can share the truth, even when leaders may not like it. Imagine writing a letter to the mayor, starting a petition for a new traffic light, or maybe asking your city for improvements in a neighborhood park. That's freedom to petition, the right to ask leaders for change. Finally, think about standing up at a community meeting to talk about an important issue, or maybe just posting your opinion online about your favorite book. Which First Amendment right is that? Yep, that's freedom of speech, the right to share your thoughts. So, the First Amendment impacts all of our lives every day. How about you? Which of these freedoms would you miss the most if you didn't have it? And how might society be different without it? Pause here to respond. We know these freedoms are important, but what exactly do they do for us as citizens? How do they protect our personal freedoms and keep the government fair? First of all, the First Amendment makes sure people can share their ideas, even when government officials disagree. But why is that important in a democracy? Well, a healthy government needs different opinions. Hearing different voices helps leaders make better, fairer decisions for everyone. Well, what if our leaders don't make good, fair decisions? What happens then? If leaders make mistakes or do something wrong, the people can speak up, gather together, write about it in the press, and ask for changes. Remember the social contract? These freedoms help safeguard that agreement. Without them, the government could just ignore the people's voices or even try to silence them. Finally, the First Amendment protects not just the majority, but smaller groups too. The Amish families in Wisconsin v. Yoder show that even if your beliefs are different from most people's, you could still use the Constitution to ask for your rights to be protected. That's how a democracy stays fair for everyone, not just the loudest or biggest group. These First Amendment freedoms keep our democracy balanced and fair, and they affect the lives of all citizens every day. Today, we explored how the First Amendment protects 5 key freedoms: religion, speech, press, assembly, and petition. More importantly, though, we've seen why these rights matter in a democracy. They help people speak up, share ideas, and make sure the government listens and plays fair. Now, it's your turn. After the video lesson, be sure to jot down your own thoughts and add more details. Why are these First Amendment freedoms necessary in a democracy? The Supreme Court's ruling in Wisconsin v. Yoder showed how freedom of religion is protected, and how all 5 freedoms work together to protect everyone's rights. That's the First Amendment in action. Today's lesson takes us closer to answering the unit's compelling question: which rights should always be protected, and why? Next time, we'll look at the amendments that protect people who are accused of crimes. And until then, remember, democracy must be defended. So vote, debate, participate, and I'll see you next time.
Hey, hey.